What is up, lads? You're with Monk, and welcome to another video. I wanted to address a question that I always get asked over on my live stream during the mid and early stages of the game, and that is why I don't summon Diet. I do summon Diet, as indicated by it being on cooldown right now, but I do it very deliberately, and often people are just asking me, use the Diet, it's off cooldown, spam the Diet. Well, hopefully this clears things up a little bit. The short and simple answer is that it has a cost. When you summon Diet, it has a cost, and I'll try to describe that to you. So I use it more deliberately or specifically when I feel like I need to. And that's based around the loyalty gainage. So when you press the summon Diet button, you gain 5 loyalty and 5 influence. So if we're fighting a game or playing a game, and I'm doing a crazy hard challenge, I like to be really, really as productive as I can with my time. And that normally means fighting many different wars, right? Doing all sorts of different things, including, showing strength on nations, humiliating nations for power projection, etc. Well, what can happen is your manpower can get really low. You need to be at peace to seize land. And remember, taking battles, of course, as well as manpower, you have to reinforce those armies when they get damaged, which costs you money. So being at peace is an issue, and your loyalty on your estates might not be up. So very often people sell seas, right? And part of the reason they do that is because you gain loyalty to avoid the consequence when you seize land of having less than 50 loyalty. Well, I use the Diet very often in a similar way, so that, for example, in this case, if we don't reach 50 loyalty by this burgers by the end of next year, you can see then I would have a penalty by seizing land when this is below 50. But most likely I will reach 45 loyalty, and then we'll bump the loyalty up above 50 with this. So that's a decent rule, but again, you're going to be doing it quite often if you do that. You want to avoid doing it if possible. And the reason why is because the negative or the influence that is gained stacks. If you see here, there are 2 modifiers for summon Diet. So of course, there's never a duration on equilibrium bonuses. So when you gain loyalty, 10 loyalty, it's going to go up or down based on your equilibrium. But every time that you gain or lose influence, it has a duration. And in this case, the 5 influence lasts 20 years, meaning you can press this button for every 5 years, which means you can actually sustain up to 20 influence, which is 20% of the estate, or 60 influence on 3 estates, which is still 20% of 300. So it's a very substantial amount of influence. Well, I'm going to put an iCard up here that you guys can click on talking about Crownland a little bit. If you guys are interested, it's called How to Straight Up Gain Crownland on Expansion. But I'll try to give a really quick breakdown here. Basically, you gain or lose Crownland when you expand. And you may or may not notice that. It can often be quite subtle, so it's behind the decimal point. We might stay at 28 when we expand, but the things that really influence this are your actual Crownland. So if your Crownland is extremely low, you're going to be more inclined to gain Crownland when expanding. And if it is extremely high, you're going to be more inclined to lose Crownland when expanding. And the reason why, of course, is because the new land that is taken is basically distributed between your estates and your Crownland itself. But the other thing that affects it is the influence of your estates. So if you're playing an expansionist game, which most people are, you're taking big chunks of land, you want to keep your influence low. It's pretty much that simple. So like I addressed earlier, that was an example of when I would use the summon Diet to bump it up to be more convenient. If one estate has, critically low loyalty, you can really try to complete the agenda, which will give you 10 loyalty to try to recover that. And you can also, of course, fish for specific agendas if you really need them or want them. Like, let's say you're playing Bohemia. You can get agendas to subjugate Brandenburg or Saxony, unique CBs, that sort of thing, or Hungary as well, subjugate nations, which is interesting. Unique mechanics like that you can fish for. Including bonuses which give you prestige or reputation. So those are kind of the examples as to all the circumstances. I like to use Summon Diet, but I do not spam it deliberately, every 5 years, and I recommend that you guys do not do the same. I hope that benefited you and that you learned something. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.